Welcome back again, YouTubers. My name's Lee. This is for the players. I'm going to bring you something a little differently than I've done today. I'm going to be doing a card spotlight. This is generally for newer players as well, this advice, because when I was a lot younger and I was first starting to play, whether it was this or Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh or something like that, I could never understand why cards were so amazing sometimes, why cards were held in such high regard. It always confused me, and then even when I played with them, because I didn't know how to use them or play with them, I was never that great at them. So as you get older, as you play more and you play test and you get better and better as a player, you start to realize why these cards are so good. So this is to help other players. As I said, I'm no expert. I'm not amazing at these games either. I'm certainly not perfect, but there are certain things I do understand about the game. I'm actually going to include two in this one because I think they work really well together, and it's something I've banged on about a lot, and it's also something that I've included in just about every single deck tech I've done, and I see it in a lot of other deck techs. I'm going to explain why it's so important and why it's advice I really don't always follow. Time is a warrior's tool. We all know this card is good. Why is it so good though? I never used to understand this. I've taken a long time to understand, and if I can help younger players make sense of this, or even experts, even you guys who are better than me might learn something a little new, like an idea that, a different way of explaining it to newer players or something like that. Time is a warrior's tool. I've called this an absolute staple and a must include in every single Dragon Ball Z deck that is ever going to be built for the rest of time. Anyway, being serious now, Time is a warrior's tool stops any attack. It is a combat card rather than a physical or an energy combat, or an event combat rather than a physical or an energy combat. What this means is that not many things are going to be able to counter it. It also means that it is an auto counter. It stops them from playing any physical or energy attack for the rest of combat. It nullifies their entire hand. This is extremely relevant. I never actually used to see why it was so important, and I must have been really young and really stupid at the time to not be able to see that. It essentially is a great way of getting you out of combat. For Dragon Ball decks, it was great to be able to stop an attack and then pass on your next turn. Be able to say, okay, cool. That combat didn't happen. You were Broly and you had 5 cards in your opening hand when you went to attack me. I play Time as a warrior's tool. You have a dead hand full of cards, I get to draw 3 on my next turn, and then I slap some Dragon Balls down, I go for the win. Essentially, being able to pull it out of the graveyard, out of the discard pile, becomes extremely relevant in this sort of case as well, which is why I've also included Visiting the Past on this list today. Visiting the Past, I think, has become an incredible staple. Being a non-combat card, it can be removed by most decks nowadays, so it's not overly a huge problem, but I see why it's been limited to 2 per deck. Being able to pull any card out of your discard pile can be extremely relevant. You can pull a key piece of anything that you need when entering combat. The main one you'd always want to draw out though, Time is a warrior's tool. You don't want them to play stuff they like. They would enter combat because they want, they have a good hand and they want to beat you. If you can Visiting the Past, pull Time as a warrior's tool out. Even if you draw badly into your hand, you can still Time as a warrior's tool, stop everything, stop their 5-card advantage hand, and just completely end what they've tried to do. This is a horrible tactic, and it's probably why Gohan's kick was brought in the previous Cell Saga. And why they haven't brought it in Panini yet is because it's not too necessary. They've only got 1 card that will ultimately end combat like that so far. Being able to stop any and all attacks and then recur that later on and stop any and all attacks absolutely slows the opposing player down, and then it's to you bide your time so you can bring out attacks and then just go to town on them when you're ready. It plays into every single deck's strengths and weaknesses. In decks not running many blocks, Time as a warrior's tool becomes almost an essential because you cannot stop every single attack. Most decks nowadays in Panini Z, all I see is them running attack after attack using allies for defense, or they use pure card advantage and endurance to try and bust open a hole rather than just take some damage. So time as a warrior's tool is extremely relevant, especially in this meta when there's not many blocks and people are unwilling to play blocks nowadays. So this was my card spotlight for 2 cards. It was for Visiting the Past, and it was for time as a warrior's tool for the DBZ CCG Panini 2014. That's why I think these 2 are relevant. That's why I think they should be spotlighted. I think I needed to explain it a little bit more as to why I think it's an auto-clued in every single deck. So this was for the players. Signing off. If you have any comments, questions, worries, if you really want to tell me why you think it shouldn't be included in every deck, leave me a comment below. If you want to tell me how awesome Time as a Warrior's tool is as well, and if you agree with me, I'm also going to sit there and listen to that too. Let me know what you guys think. I'm signing off.